Welcome to Football Science with me, Aaron Sutter. I'm a writer for FootballAnalysis1.com. I cover the Cincinnati Bengals on FootballAnalysis1.com. Also on CFL News, I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats. On Football Science, we also talk about the UFL, the IFL, the NAL, and the ELF, European League of Football, along with the NFL and CFL. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Wolfie D. Wolfie D is back in the house. Wolfie D, how was Maui? Maui was great. I went surfing and I got a tan and I feel good. You got a tan? Yeah, I got a tan. You didn't notice? I got a tan. You're covered in hair. Well, underneath this tan. I have tan underneath, okay? Got it. What are we doing today for the show anyway? You're just picking on me all day? No, we're not going to pick on you all day. First we're going to talk about the game reviews of the UFL, the IFL, the NAL, and this Canadian Football League preseason games. And then we'll talk about our power rankings for each, including European League of Football. And we'll talk about some CFL news and NFL news, getting ready to write some articles today about the CFL and the NFL. Okay, so let's jump right in. First, the UFL game reviews. Friday night, St. Louis Battlehawks played the San Antonio Brahmas. It was supposed to be a home game for the Brahmas, but they had to play it in America's Dome in St. Louis. Not much of a home game. Okay. St. Louis Battlehawks first place in the XFL Conference. San Antonio Brahmas last place in the XFL Conference. San Antonio Battlehawks were already hosting the XFL Conference Championship. They could have came in and mailed it in, but they didn't. They won 39-13 over the San Antonio Brahmas. Max Duggan didn't have a great game. He had a QBR of 131, but he threw for a touchdown. That's it. Overall, the Battlehawks played decent. Okay, they finished their drives. They caught some passes. They made some runs. Everything you expect a good team to do. Defensively, had a sack and a fumble recovery. The Brahmas had a problem. The Brahmas kept getting their drive started well, but then they would shoot themselves in the foot. Bang. So they would either, have penalties or down the red zone. They would turn the ball over, drop passes, not in the middle of the field, but in the red zone they would. And it really set them up for a bad time. Kellerman kind of did what he does. He had a QBR of 63.1. Not great. Jayshon Corbin came out and he ran for the ball 14 yards for 85 yards and a touchdown. Pretty solid. Everyone else was pretty disappointing. It's a good summation of the San Antonio Brahmas season. They have the capability of doing some things, but then they came up short, and their defense was horrible. Their tackling was atrocious. And that's how you get a Battlehawks win of 39-13 over the Brahmas. Then Saturday, Arlington Renegades, who were eliminated from the playoffs, traveled to the Memphis Showboats, 2-7, are eliminated from the playoffs. Arlington came out. Luis Perez played pretty well, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. They ran the ball fairly well, and their defense played good. They had 5 sacks, interceptions, and fumble recoveries. Memphis Showboats kind of did what Memphis Showboats do. They played both the quarterbacks, E.J. Perry and Dresser Wynn. Both were underwhelming. Running back Deneric Prince played fairly well, but not really. It's just a disappointing game for Showboats for a disappointing season. Arlington wins the game 30-12. If you go to 4-5, both are eliminated from the playoffs. They have one more game left. Next, Saturday, big matchup in the USL Conference. Michigan Panthers travel to the Birmingham Stallions, same as they'll do in the USL Conference Championship game. A lot of people thought Michigan Panthers were the better team here, but I've mentioned before, Panthers have never beaten the Birmingham Stallions. Stallions have never lost 2 games in a row. So, that going in did not bode well in my mind for Michigan Panthers. But a lot of people say, well, we're going to win it this time. Oh, sure. Danny Etling started the game. Bryce Perkins was out. He had a pretty good game. He had 93.5 QBR, 2 touchdown passes. Pretty good for Danny Etling, really. They ran the ball well. They did catch some passes. Defensively, they had 3 sacks and a fumble recovery. Solid game. Not great. Solid game. Quarterback Jamar Smith played for the Birmingham Stallions. They've had revolving door at quarterback. Jamar Smith came in. He went. He played all right. He had 37 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 124 QBR. Solid game. 7 runs, 22 yards. Pretty good game by J.R. Smith. They ran the ball well. When you run the ball well, you're going to win games in the UFL. And Birmingham Stallions won that game 26-22. Still having never lost to Michigan Panthers. Still having never lost 2 games in a row. And people are saying, Michigan Panthers are going to play the St. Louis Battlehawks in UFL championship game. No, it's going to be Birmingham and St. Louis, y'all. Sorry. And St. Louis will win this time because they need to boost the ratings. But it's going to be St. Louis because they have the most fans. Not a good reason, which is why I've stopped writing about the league. I think they really did the Brahmas dirty this year. Sunday, DC Defenders travel to Houston Roughnecks. And if DC's for real, they win this game. But here's what happened. DC came out, they threw the ball really well, threw for 371 yards with quarterbacks Jordan Teamu and Mike DeLalo. 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Deion Jackson had 20 runs for 87 yards, touchdown. Pretty good game by DC, but their defense really did not show up. 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. Houston Roughnecks, Jalen McClendon came out and played a good game, 21 for 30, 232 yards. They ran the ball for 107 yards. Justin Hall had 10 catches for 126 yards. He really carried the offense a lot, other than the running game. And if you want to win the UFL, you got to be able to run the ball. And Houston Roughnecks upset the DC Defenders 24-21. So that's a pretty good win by them. Now, does it matter? No. Nothing's changed about the playoff picture. It can't change. It is what it is. Okay? All right. So, then we got our UFL power rankings based on these outcomes. So, we got number 1, St. Louis Battlehawks, 7-2. I suspect they'll win the UFL this year against the Birmingham Stallions. Number 2, we got Birmingham Stallions, 6-3. Number 3, we got Michigan Panthers, 6-3. So, they're tied again for first place in UFL. It doesn't matter. They're going to play in Birmingham no matter what. Number 4, DC Defenders are 6-3. I don't think they really have much to play for. They need to go on the road. They're in the playoffs, so their loss doesn't bother me really. Eliminated are the Houston Roughnecks. They're 4-5. Okay, Arlington Renegades eliminated. They're 4-5. Memphis Showboats, they're eliminated 2-7, and San Antonio Brahmas eliminated 1-8. The Brahmas are the worst team ever. Nice. Boom. All right. Next in the IFL, pretty exciting week in the IFL. There's 5 games. So first, Tulsa Oilers, Iowa Barnstormers. If you didn't watch this game, so Tulsa won the game 56-51. And you would think, well, that was expected. But here's the thing. The best part of this game happened in like the last 3 minutes. The Barnstormers were up 51 to like 33 or something. It was an 18-point game. And it looked Tulsa was going to lose. Tulsa got real physical and real aggressive and came out and ended up scoring like 22 unanswered points in the last 3 minutes of this game. Got onside kicks, got touchdown passes, got deuce. It was crazy. And they went from losing 51 to 33 in the last 3 minutes to winning the game 56-51. That's a monumental collapse by the Iowa Barnstormers. And that's a huge comeback win for Tulsa Oilers, who ran the ball well. Defense had 2 interceptions. I mentioned if that happened, it was going to be a bad day for the Iowa Barnstormers. They overcame it for the most part, though. Oilers ran the ball really well, 196 yards for 5 touchdowns. I mean, they passed the ball. So they had 5 passing touchdowns from TJ Edwards. They ran the ball 115 yards for 3 touchdowns. Iowa did have a rushing touchdown, which is abnormal for them. But Oilers came back and won that game. I mentioned on the previews, on my predictions, I didn't think Tulsa would let the Iowa Barnstormers beat them. They did not. They literally just would not let them beat them. Okay. Jacksonville Sharks traveled to the Fisher's Freight. As expected, Fisher's Freight played much better than expected at home field. They played pretty well at home. Freight came out 190 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Only 6 for 11 passing wise, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not necessarily a problem, but it's not good. The Sharks ran the ball for 143 yards and scored 5 rushing touchdowns. And they threw the ball 8 for 13, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. So if you can run the ball better than any other team in IFL, you're going to win the game. And Jacksonville won the game 46-40. I predicted 43-40. So that's a really good call by me. Nice job. Barry Panthers, they traveled to San Antonio Gunslingers on Saturday. They ran the ball 152 yards for 4 touchdowns. Gunslingers could only muster 91 rushing yards for a touchdown. Passing wise, Panthers went 12 for 17 for 133 yards, 4 touchdowns with Josh Jones. And San Antonio Gunslingers went 9 for 12, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions are a killer. Being able to run the ball, the game is the killer. I mentioned if Barry could control the tempo of the game, they're going to win this game. And they did. Defense also had 3 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 sack to go, along with the 2 interceptions, which is enough to win the game. And Barry Panthers won the game 55-26 against San Antonio. Good road win. Arizona Rattlers against Northern Arizona Wranglers. I mentioned the Rattlers tend to struggle at Northern Arizona in Prescott Valley. And that's what happened. So Rattlers came out, they ran the ball 90 for 93 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's efficient. They threw the ball 17 for 22, 193 yards, 3 interceptions. No interceptions and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But they struggled defensively to gain stops against Northern Arizona, and that's par for the course when they got to Northern Arizona Prescott Valley. Is Northern Arizona tends to play tough offensively, and they ended up, throwing 16 for 26 completions per pass attempts for 193 yards and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. They played a clean game. And had a chance to win. But Arizona Rattlers won the game 54-47, as I expected. I expected to win by more than that, but Northern Arizona played above their head. They played a lot better than they have been playing. Vegas Nighthawks traveled to San Diego Strike Force. Vegas Nighthawks are, in my mind, are the better team, but they didn't play better in this game. It was a tough game throughout, but here's the difference in the game. Nighthawks could not control the game with the running game. They ran for 76 yards for 3 touchdowns. They threw the ball. Jerome Johnson threw the ball 171 times for 2 touchdowns. But that running game was the difference maker, and that's not normal for the San Diego Strike Force to win in the running game. But they ended up running the ball for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they still passed the ball 130 times for 3 touchdowns. 103 yards, not 130 times, sorry. Their defense was a big difference. They had a fumble recovery and a sack, and that fumble recovery was enough to make the San Diego Strike Force pick up, I think this was 2nd win in a row. No, they lost to San Antonio last week. 42-39. Okay, they won 42-39 against the Vegas Nighthawks. Nighthawks just they're very talented. They keep losing games they shouldn't. Okay, so with that in mind, here's my updated IFL power rankings. Arizona Rattlers are number 1 at 7-1. Number 2, Barry Panthers are number 2 at 6-2. I just think they're close to beating the Arizona Rattlers, if not better than them right now. Number 3, Jacksonville Sharks. I got them at 6. I got them as the best in the East right now, by default. Number 4, Tulsa Oilers at 6-2. They struggled against Iowa, but they got the win. Record-wise, they're good. Quad City Steamwheelers, they're 6-2. They didn't play this week, but they have a 2-game losing streak. You can't put them at the top for that. So by default, Jacksonville's the best team in the East right now. Number 6, San Diego Strike Force just keep hanging around, man. They're 4-4. They keep hanging around. Right now, they'd be a playoff team, and I got them as the 3rd best team in the West. Number 7, Green Bay Blizzard. They didn't play this week, but they have played pretty well at times. Their offense has been on fire. That's good. That's good. Going to win you some games if you can score some points. Number 8, Vegas Nighthawks are 4-4 after losing San Diego Strike Force. They just keep. They're good enough to really play good football, but they keep making errors all the time. I mentioned you can beat them that way. Boris Jerome Johnson pass the ball, he'll make some errors. Number 9, Tucson Sugar Skulls did not play this week. They're 3-4. Number 10, Mass Pirates did not play this week. They're 2-5. They're number 10. Tucson's number 9. Number 11, San Antonio Gunslingers. Every time they can make a little ground, they come back and lose it all. So, they're stagnant right now. They're at number 11, 2-6 record. Number 12, Fisher's Freight. Play good at home, but not good enough to win. Kind of expected. They're number 12. They're 2-6. They've lost 6 games in a row now. Northern Arizona Wranglers, number 13. They did play tough at home, but they always play tough at home against Arizona, so I'm not surprised. I got them at number 13, 1-7. And then Iowa Barnstormers really could have beat the Tulsa Oilers. Should have been a huge win, but they just let them rip it from them. They just let them rip it from them. It was brute force. Okay, next, NAL, we got Columbus Lions traveling to the Wheeling Miners. I mentioned if Columbus wins this game, Wheeling Miners are done for the playoff race. There's only 1 week left in NAL though, so I mean they made it this far. For the Columbus Lions, quarterback Vincent Espinoza, formerly Carolina Cobras, went for 9 for 15 for 75 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception. He ran the ball 7 times for 40 yards and a touchdown. Running back Marco Lee, 17 runs for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. Travion Scott, wide receiver, 1 touchdown in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. Okay. Wheeling Miners played quarterback Davis Black, who went 5 for 14 for 29 yards. Yikes. And he threw 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, getting to lose every time. Columbus Lions dominated the game on the ground, through the air, and defensively, and they win 39-13, knocking out the Wheeling Miners before the last week of the season. Omaha Beef traveled to Shreveport Rougarou. Okay, Shreveport Rougarou. And Rougarou, let's go Rougarou. Okay, well that was crazy. Okay, so Omaha Beef traveled to Shreveport Rougarou. Quarterback Lorenzo Brown went 13 for 23 for 3 touchdowns and an interception. Solid game, not perfect. Running back Tobias Taylor, maybe. He had 10 runs, 48 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Solid game by Omaha Beef. The Shreveport Rougarou struggled to get things going. Quarterback really struggled. And ended up going 4 for 13 for 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. And they ran the ball for 14 yards. So that's his domination, really. Omaha Beef win 47-14. Domination. Okay, surprising outcome to me. The Sioux City Bandits are done for the year. They got 1 game left, but they can't make the playoffs. Colorado Spartans came in, having their best year in recent years. Quarterback Andre Sale for Colorado Spartans came out, went 16 for 22, threw for 205 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's probably the best passing game I've ever seen that Colorado Spartans have. Honestly, that's not an exaggeration. It's the best they've ever passed the ball. Okay, Sioux City Bandits came out. They played a couple of quarterbacks. One went 5 for 15, 30 yards, and interception and a touchdown. And then Tyler Lozinghouse ran the ball 8 times. Just a disappointing season for Sioux City Bandits. They just don't have it right now. All right. So with that in mind, here's my NAL power rankings. First, the Omaha Beef are number 1. I believe they'll play the Columbus Lions and win the league for another year. The Omaha Beef 7-1, number 1. First number 1 team in the national conference as well. Number 2, I have Columbus Lions. They have pulled ahead. They've pulled really to contender status in the American Conference. Beaumont Renegades are still technically the top team, but they're not playing this weekend against the Alabama Empire, which wouldn't have counted anyway. Shouldn't have counted anyway. But I think Beaumont will win we're definitely going to win the division. But I think Columbus will beat them in the American Conference Championship game. So we got Columbus Lions at number 2, 5-3. We got Beaumont Renegades at number 3, 6-1. We got number 4, Colorado Spartans at 6-2. I think Colorado goes to Omaha and they lose. I think it's going to be Beef and Lions, and Beef will win. Eliminated from the playoffs, we have number 5, Sioux City Bandits. This point season 3-5, and a tough record. Eliminated from the playoffs, Idaho Horsemen did better than they looked in the first couple of weeks. They were going 3-5. It still got some games left. They might get 4-5. Shreveport Rougarou. Rougarou is pretty fired up, but this not great results yet. They went 3-5. Wheeling Miners came in on a lot of potential. They went 3-6. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Elf was crazy this week. Lots of games. So let's talk about those first. Fairbar and Throners on Saturday. Fairbar and Throners played the Vienna Vikings. Vienna Vikings, I predicted, will be one of the top teams in the league, and they were this week. At quarterback, they threw for 175 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They ran the ball 40 times, 266 yards. If you're in the Elf, if you're going to control the game on the ground, you're going to win the game. Fairbar came out and threw for 207 yards. No one cares. They ran the ball for 86 yards. It threw 1 interception. No, they threw 2 interceptions for 2 touchdowns. But they did intercept 1 Vienna Vikings pass. Vienna Vikings just win the game. In dominant fashion, they win 62-15 over the Fairbar and Throners to go 2-0. Hamburg Sea Devils, they played pretty well last week. They made a lot of changes, but they played the Prague Lions. This is a good time to get right. So passing wise, they were horrible. They went 7 for 14 for 30 yards, but rushing wise, they were a heavily rushing team. They ran the ball 45 times, 220 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's what wins you the game. Prague Lions threw for 16 for 20, 174 yards. No one cares. 1 touchdown, 1 INT, and they ran the ball 17 times for 149 yards. They played better than expected, honestly, for the second time in a row, but they lost to Hamburg 28-13. Okay, Frankfurt Galaxy. This is also on Saturday. Frankfurt Galaxy traveled to the Madrid Bravos. Didn't know what to really expect, but I thought Frankfurt Galaxy had the better offense than Madrid. And it basically has how it broke down. So Frankfurt Galaxy went 16 for 21 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Passing game wise, they ran the ball 40 times for 408. 40 times for 408 yards. Yeah, 10 yards carry, you're going to win the game, bro. They scored 5 touchdowns in the running game. They intercepted 2 passes from Madrid. Madrid went 30 for 44 for 459 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This is a shootout game, man. It's crazy. 23 rushes for 124 yards and a touchdown, but the 408 rushing yards from 215 yards passing yard, that's a crazy number of yards for both teams. Frankfurt wins 47-33. Boo. Okay. Next, Nordic Storm, who I thought would struggle without Glenn Tunga. They struggled a little bit, but not that much. They traveled to the Wrocław Panthers in Poland. Jadarian Clark came out, went 24 for 32 for 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's going to be tough to beat. They did run the ball 26 times for 151 yards and 5.1 on average yards per run average, 1 touchdown. So they really didn't mess Glenn Tunga that much. They had 3 sacks defensively. Wrocław Panthers, 20 for 30, 150 yards, touchdown, no interceptions, 18 runs for 122 yards and 8.3 yards. They had a pretty good game themselves. They had 3 sacks. No one could force any turnovers. What happens? Nordic Storm win 40-21. They still look pretty good. Paris Musketeers, Stuttgart Surge. I really thought the Stuttgart Surge looked good in week 1. They came out and played well. Paris Musketeers struggled against the Rhine Fire. This tells you how good the Rhine Fire is still, okay? Even though they lost a lot of players, because the Paris Musketeers came out and their quarterback Hampton went 10 for 16, 91 yards, touchdown, 1 interception, 34 runs, 95 yards, and a touchdown, 4 sacks, okay? Stuttgart Surge, who I thought was better than this. Ryan Hudgens, who went 19 for 30, 39 for 211 yards. If you win the running game, you're going to win the game, and Paris won the game because Stuttgart Surge ran the ball 28 times for 74 yards, no touchdowns. He had 2 sacks. The running game won the game for Paris. They won 6-0. Okay, next. T-Roll Raiders traveled to Helvetic Mercenaries. I felt like T-Roll Raiders were the better team here. Helvetic Mercenaries, they're coming along, but they're not very good yet, really. Okay. So we see Tyrol Raiders passing wise disappointing, 4 for 10 for 25 yards. But they ran the ball 36 times for 235 yards and 6 touchdowns. If you run the ball well, you're going to win an elf. And how about Mercenaries? Isaiah Weed, 18 for 37 for 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. But they ran the ball 30 times for 148 yards. So they got outrushed by 200 yards. And that was enough for the T-Roll Raiders to beat the Helvetic Mercenaries 44-6. Okay, next, Munich Ravens. They traveled to Berlin Thunder. I expected Berlin Thunder to play pretty well. They blew out the Cologne Centurions, but I think that was like a reflection on the Cologne Centurions being not good. Munich Ravens came in 1-0 on the road. Munich Ravens go 22 for 31 for 203 yards, 4 touchdowns, intercepted. That's a solid game at quarterback. They ran the ball 29 times for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. They intercepted 3 passes from Berlin, and that's going to be a huge difference maker here. Berlin did show passing quality. They went 29 for 48 for 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And they did run the ball 13 times for 31 yards, but no touchdowns. Ravens run the ball, got defensive stops, got 3 turnovers. They win the game 38-16. Okay. So with that in mind, then we talk about the ELF power rankings and how they've changed since week 1. So first, number 1, I think Nordic Storm are the best team still, 2-0. Even at Glen 2, they seem to be a cut above the rest right now. Number 2, Vienna Vikings, they're the next best team, the second best team in the conference. I think it'll be in the Nordic Storm at the end of the day. Number 3, they're 2-0. Munich Ravens, number 3, they're playing better than expected. Their defense is playing well. They're running the ball well. They're going to be a tough out. Okay, they might not be the best in the league, but they're going to be a tough out. They made the playoffs last year. They should make the playoffs again. Ryan Fire, better than they didn't play this week, but better than expected. I noticed that from Paris beat the Stuttgart Surge. Ryan Fire probably better than the Stuttgart Surge too. They're 1-0, but they're number 4. Number 5, Paris Musketeers are 1-1. They did a lot better than they did in week 1 offensively, so it paid off. Number 6, Frankfurt Galaxy got a big win. I got Frankfurt Galaxy 1-1. They're at number 6 right now. They can keep scoring. They have a chance to win. Number 7, T-Roll Raiders. Just really don't have a good feel for them yet. They're 1-1. Number 8, Stuttgart Surge. Really surprising they lost. They lost to Paris Musketeers. I was really surprised about it. They're 1-1. They're number 8. Number 9, Madrid Bravos. Reed Sinet's just not the guy, man. He may get dumped this week. They're 1-1. Hamburg Sea Devils with a lot of adjustments. They ran the ball really well and they got a win. They're 1-1. Berlin Thunder drew the ball well but couldn't run the ball well. If you want to win in the L, you got to run the ball well. And Berlin Thunder are now number 11. They're 1-1. Roclaw Panthers, they're 0-2. They're number 12. Number 13, Cologne Centurions didn't play. They're 0-1. Number 14, Helvetic Mercenaries are 0-2. They still don't seem to have it. Number 15, Prague Lions 0-2. They're probably the worst team in the league to play against. You may see a bee's nest, you know, but what? A bee's nest. I don't know. I think I fell asleep for a minute there, guys. All right, Cologne Centurions 0-1. Helvetic Mercenaries are 0-2. Prague Lions 0-2. Ferry Barton Throne is 0-2. Okay, so no bee's nest. What are you talking about, bro? Bee's nest? That was weird. Did you fall asleep? I think I fell asleep. I just kept talking. That's crazy. I need more caffeine, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, all right. CFL, Ottawa Red Blacks beat the Montreal. These are the preseason games. It's you get what you get with it. Ottawa Red Blacks beat the Montreal Alouettes. Ottawa Red Blacks is really good. Montreal looked very shabby. Ottawa ran the ball really well, and that's going to win you the game in the CFL. Boom. The Saskatchewan Roughriders went on the road and lost to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 9-15. Once again, they passed the ball well, but and they ran the ball pretty well too. They had a pretty good game, but they lost on the running game. Won 97-237. That's going to win you the game. For Winnipeg, they're still a good team. Toronto Argonauts struggled to move the ball on the ground. They did a pass for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, but they really struggled to move the ball on the ground. Tiger Cats looked really good running the ball and playing defense, which I said they needed to do coming in that game in my preview. They ran the ball for 132 yards. That's what they need to do. They outran the Argonauts. If they do that, they're going to win a bunch of games. They got to do it again, though, this week against Toronto at Toronto. Edmonton Elks came out. They made a bunch of adjustments to their defense. This did not matter. They got destroyed. Calgary Stampeders won 31-4. Edmonton did throw the ball for 191 yards, but they only ran for 54 yards. And Calgary Stampeders, they dominated every way, and they won the game. So, I mean, they also had 2 interceptions. So, I mean, Edmonton did not get a lot better than the period, even though they made a lot of signings. They just don't have it. They don't know what to do, I guess. All right, there were a bunch of CFL signings this weekend. I'm going to talk about some of those. I'm going to write an article about Hamilton Tiger recent signings. Edmonton Elks, they signed American defensive lineman Charles Lowe's. They also signed national defensive lineman Reese Martin. They released national defensive lineman Samuel Achenberg. And they moved to 6-game injured list national defensive lineman Noah Carrington. Okay. DC Lions add from suspension American wide receiver Leland Boyle Jr. They released American defensive tackle Xavier Henderson, and they signed American running back Deshaun Fenwick. Hamilton Cats re-signed American defensive lineman Tyshawn Render. They released him last week, and then they re-signed him this week. I don't know. It's me in the article I write. They're going to sign American defensive back Cameron Lockridge. They signed American wide receiver Matt Landers, who may be a contributor. And they released American running back Chris Smith, and they moved the National Defensive Lineman Luke Brubaker to the 6-game injured list, so he's injured. Toronto Argonauts signed national linebacker Ryan Collier. They released American offensive lineman Jeb Delance. And Ottawa Redblacks had American running back Tobias Harris retire. Boop. And the NFL, Detroit Lions, they have they're expected to extend defenseman Aiden Hutchinson, who says he's healthy this year. He's going to probably become one of the top 3 highest edge rushers in the league. That probably messes up Trey Henderson going to Detroit, so that's one less place for Trey Henderson to go. I didn't think they'd trade for him anyway. Secondary, Cleveland Browns, quarterback Shedeur Sanders. You know, this year he's going to receive $1.2 million for the next 4 years per year. But if he would have stayed in college football one more year, he would have got NAL over $10 million. Probably the wrong college kid to give him an NFL bid. Tennessee Titans, they officially signed quarterback Cam Ward, 4-year deal, $48.7 million, guaranteed contract. Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. says there's no interest from teams in him. He's going to retire. NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The NFL teams think he's waiting out the Minnesota Vikings. He just said he had no motivation to go to New Orleans. He does not like Louisiana as a state. They think he's not going to the Steelers because he's waiting out the Minnesota Vikings, who said they don't want him. So it's weird. New Orleans Saints quarterback Spencer Rattler has been injured. It looks like he's trying to compete for. He's been impressive. Sorry, he's been not injured. He's been impressive. He's trying to compete for QB1. You know how he is. He's not great. This is an interesting fact I ran upon. None of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL have won a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. These guys have never won a Super Bowl. So just because you get paid a lot, usually if you get paid a lot, your team is less good around you and you don't win a Super Bowl. Okay, Joe Burrow, unfortunately, is one of those with the Bengals. That's bad for me and the Bengals fans. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, because Aaron Rodgers is dragging his feet, they're not sure what he wants to do. They're still interested in Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins. May trade for him. Right now, their quarterback room is quarterback 1, Mason Rudolph, Ohio State, Will Howard, and quarterback 3, Skylar Thompson. So their quarterback room is looking real bad if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. So they might be trying to get Kirk Cousins. So he'll be a little bit of an upgrade over Mason Rudolph. Washington Commanders, they're still interested in it. They're currently interested in a trade with Miami Dolphins to pick up all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Here's the second point. Dolphins want whoever picks up Jalen Ramsey to pay his full salary, and no one's willing to do that. That's the bailout the Miami Dolphins. Dallas Cowboys running back Javonte Williams expect to be the top running back for the Cowboys heading into training camp, and San Francisco 49ers expect to pursue wide receiver Keenan Allen. They have some injuries at receiver, so they need a receiver going into training camp. We'll see. He's still not been signed by anybody, but that's the story. That's the game reviews. That's the power rankings. There's a lot of information. I fell asleep once and talked about a beehive. I don't know why. Welcome to the summer break. It's going to be crazy, y'all. Wolfie D, you got anything to add?
Yeah, Maui was cool, and these predictions were good, and you did a good job without me.
Well, thanks. Hope you have a good day, and I'll probably be back this evening for an evening edition of Football Scientific. We talk about NFL and CFL transactions.
Let's go!